In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create a YouTube sales funnel so that you can get anywhere from 10 to 30 qualified leads per month just by posting on YouTube. This is a full-length YouTube content course for free. This strategy has allowed me to generate my clients over 6 figures in new revenue this month alone. I'm breaking down the exact same blueprint that I've used for them. Like one of my clients in 2024, last year, Zach Colburn, who averages 20 leads per month with his coaching business on YouTube. This video has the power to completely change the course of your business forever. So make sure to lock in and pay attention. This is a longer video. There's lots of value here. So make sure you take notes and get rid of all other distractions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. All right, so first things first, what is a YouTube sales funnel? It is a strategy and approach to YouTube content with the primary goal being use YouTube to get leads, nurture them, and eventually help convert them into clients and customers. So this strategy takes into account any of the different stages of awareness your viewers might be in and offers something for all of them to help move them further along in your sales cycle. So coaches, consultants, agency owners, SaaS companies, service-based business owners, B2B and B2C all can effectively use the strategy of having a YouTube sales funnel. So there's 3 main goals at each stage of awareness that your viewers might be in. So we start at the awareness stage. That's top of funnel. So that's where the prospect finds your channel full of actionable advice, tutorials, how-tos, some broad educational content, and social proof. So that's case studies and client interviews. Then they get into the engagement stage, right? The middle of funnel. So they have seen your channel before, they're already aware of you, they're implementing some of your advice, they start binge watching your stuff, they have already binged it a little bit, and then they come back to you for more, and they eventually follow the CTAs to your landing page. So you're funneling them at the end of every video to either another video or to actually take the call to action, go to your landing page, book a call, whatever the next step in your funnel is. Finally, you've got the conversion stage. So that's bottom of funnel. These people are primed. They're basically ready to go. They're extremely market aware. They're aware of your competitors. They're on your landing page. They've seen your VSL. They've seen a majority of your social proof, case studies. They book a call, fill in an opt-in form, and get your main lead magnet or just get directly onto your calendar, whatever you have them doing. So you're going to have people at every stage of the way in this YouTube sales funnel. The goal is we have something for everybody so that we continue to move everyone down off of your YouTube eventually into your funnel and actually on the phone with you or on a call with you, right? So how is this different from how most channels operate on YouTube? When most people don't know what a YouTube sales funnel is and they think of starting a channel, they usually just imagine entertainment channels, right? The YouTube sales funnel approach, though, is fundamentally different. But if you're not aware of why, it's harder to understand, right? So here's the main differences. Entertainment channels, review channels, you've got guns, food, games, entertainment. I put Scotty Kilmer, he's a guy in the car niche. Edutainment, you got Graham Stefan, to a degree, Hermosi's in there too, right? Like that's what most people go to YouTube for. It's almost like TV 2.0, okay? But sales funnel channels are different. So you have actionable advice, which is tutorials, how-tos, you're explaining things, okay? Not necessarily button pushing where you're only giving tutorials. You're just showing concepts, explaining how they work, and then giving some actionable takeaways, okay? Educational content, industry insights, personal stories, just things like that, educating your audience, right? And then social proof, which is case studies and client interviews. That's what these sales funnel channels consist of. You're not making an entertainment channel. You're not making vlogs. You're not doing lifestyle content. It's all right to pepper some of that in there, but if that's your main approach to YouTube, you're effectively making a TV channel. Whether that works for you or not, really, there's no way to measure that. Sure, maybe it's not actively hurting you, but is your time better spent elsewhere? Yes. Okay. So an entertainment channel's main goal is going viral because their money comes from ad revenue, sponsorships, affiliate marketing, stuff like that. Sales funnel channel's main goal is getting and nurturing leads for professional services, coaching, consulting programs. Okay, so you can have 200 views on a video, but if 100 of those people are in your funnel and got on a sales call with you, you're going to make a lot more money than somebody with 200,000 views where their viewers don't buy. They're all from third world countries. They're not qualified and they're not even being pushed somewhere. Okay. So it's not about views. It's about conversions. What the audience values is fun in an entertainment channel. Learning is what you want your audience to value, and that's why they come to you. They see you as a go-to expert. They have a problem that needs to be solved, and they go to your channel. And you could see the difference in the call to actions. For entertainment channels, it's watch more videos, click this link for this product, like and subscribe. You could do some of that, but for a sales funnel channel, you're directing them to another specific video that chains into what you were talking about on the one that they watched, or click to learn more and book a call. You are trying to book calls and get clients. So the most common mistake that people make on YouTube is going way too broad. My perfect morning routine or 3 books that changed my life. That will not drive any new revenue for you unless you're some sort of mindset coach. Okay. It's fine to do that top of funnel, very top of funnel, broad content, but it cannot be a majority of your approach at all if you're trying to get leads, get clients for your services. Okay, moving on. These are just some examples of entertainment channels. So you've got Graham Stefan in the finance niche, Scotty Kilmer in the car niche, Casey Neistat, videography and lifestyle, Grand Thumb, firearms, Mr. Beast, just broad entertainment. Okay, but you know, Hermosi's like on the fence. That's why I put him first. But Sales Funnel Channel, he's actually educating people for the most part. That's why he falls more in here. It's just a different type of funnel. But then you've got Daniel Fazio, the founder of Client Ascension. This is for B2B agency owners. You go to his channel if you want to learn something, right? Matt Lucero is a good example in the cold email niche. I know personally he gets a lot of clients from this. He's teaching people that want to get into cold email or are already doing it, whatever stage of the funnel they're at, giving them what we talked about, actionable advice, education, and then showing some social proof with client interviews. Zach Colburn, he's an online fitness business coach. His channel to a degree is a lot like that. This is actually one of my clients, worked with him for a long time, and that's the goal of his channel. Instantly AI, they're a SaaS company, but they have this funnel, right? They're trying to get users for their SaaS. So they have those pillars of content on their channel. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Helmi Hassan, who talks about this concept of entertainment channels versus sales funnel channels in one of his videos. I got this concept from him, but it's true universally on YouTube, right? So now that we've established what a YouTube sales funnel is and isn't, I'll show you a little bit more about why they're so effective. So first, let's look at the 3 core pillars of content that I mentioned before. You've got actionable content, educational content, and social proof. The main 2 is the actionable and educational. You're gonna have more of those videos, but they are supported by social proof, which proves why you're worth listening to in the first place. And what you want to do is you want to have client interviews that's way more powerful than just some random selfie testimonial. They're actually with you on camera, backing you up, saying this guy really knows his stuff. Okay. And then you're also breaking down those case studies. And that's a form of, you know, an actionable video. Here's how I set this up for this client and got this result. To a degree, it's a how-to video, but because it's of what you did for a client, it's a case study breakdown. So it falls in this other pillar of social proof. Okay. That is going to convert way more people than pretty much any other video on your channel, right? Why is posting to YouTube effective in the first place? Why not just do this same exact strategy on other platforms? Well, the short answer is that YouTube is owned by Google. Google is the #1 search engine in the world, right? I think we all know that. Unlike most other social media platforms, people use YouTube like a search engine. So they're using the search bar on the homepage just like they would on Google. How to run Facebook ads, how to fix cold email deliverability, affiliate marketing, how to do TikTok shop, stuff like that. It's generally understood by most people. You could just learn something on YouTube if you really want to figure it out. So it should not be a surprise that your prospects and ideal clients are using YouTube to deliberately search for useful content about your services. And because the platform is used this way, videos on YouTube can have an insanely long lifespan. A great tutorial video on an evergreen topic can rack up views for potentially 2 to 4 years. Since you're not fully at the mercy of the algorithm, SEO matters just like on Google. Meaning, if you make how to run Facebook ads and it stays relevant for 2 years, as long as your video is good and people like it, anytime someone searches that, you're discoverable, okay? So you want the video to actually be good because I'm sure other people will make videos about how to run Facebook ads. But the point is, if the topic is relevant, you can just get discovered organically, just like in a search engine. That's not going to happen on Instagram or Twitter or something like that. So I will explain YouTube SEO later on in this video, and we'll dive into what makes content good for YouTube later too. So here's some facts about YouTube in case you don't believe that this is relevant to you or your prospects aren't on there somehow. I'm going to disprove that right now. So YouTube is the second most visited site in the world behind Google. There are 2.7 billion active logged in monthly users. There is 1 billion hours of YouTube videos watched daily worldwide every single day. The average mobile viewing session is 40 minutes, meaning that people on their phones are binge watching YouTube. If they get on there, they're on there for an average of 40 minutes straight. That is a lot of time that someone could be spending with you. In 2022, YouTube's ad revenue was 29 billion or 11% of Google's overall revenue. It makes up a big chunk of that company's revenue. There is about 56% viewers that are male, 44% that are female. So it's pretty much evenly split as a platform for demographics relating to gender. And YouTube usage in the United States by age group. 81% of people aged 18 to 29 are using YouTube regularly. 71% of people aged 30 to 49. 49%, so half of people aged 65 plus, are using YouTube regularly. These statistics are from YouTube and Google themselves. You can go look every single one of these up. I didn't make this up. So it's obvious that no matter who they are, your ideal client is using YouTube. So what else? It is the best social media channel for cross-platform promotion. So your long-form content can be repurposed easier than anything else you make onto every single platform in multiple ways. Every single video, if you think about it, could be like a mini VSL for your services. So here's an example of what you can do with YouTube videos, and this is just one interpretation of what you can do. So you make a long form YouTube video. It's an average of 7 to 12 minutes long, maybe even longer, right? You could send it directly to your prospects as a sales asset. Email it to them, text it to them, show them on a call. Hey, I made this video. You asked me a question about this. Okay. You can throw it on your landing page and website, embed it straight there so that people can discover it when they're in your funnel looking you up from somewhere else. You could take that long form YouTube video and you could either clip it into shorts, and just about every platform has some sort of Reels algorithm that's separate from their main one. So you can put it anywhere: LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You could expand on this in your written content. Again, LinkedIn posts, tweets. You could write about it in your newsletter, make an Instagram carousel post or threads, whatever. You can use it anywhere, right? Throw it in your newsletter. I already have that here, but same thing. Like, you could just put this anywhere. Okay. So the thing about YouTube is that you're building parasocial relationships with people easier than on any other platform. If somebody binge watches your YouTube channel, they are getting a lot of one-on-one time with you. they will feel like they already know, like, and trust you in a way that only comes second to an actual face-to-face, one-to-one relationship. Oxford English Dictionary definition of a parasocial relationship, designating a relationship characterized by the one-sided, unreciprocated sense of intimacy felt by a viewer, fan, or follower for a well-known or prominent figure, typically a media celebrity, in which the follower or fan comes to feel, falsely, that they know the celebrity as a friend, usually in a parasocial interaction, parasocial relationship. Okay, so what that means is just that these people feel like they know you already, so that by the time they show up to a sales call with you, not only have they watched all of your content, seen your website, but they kind of think that you're their friend, especially if they like what you have to say. So it's really easy to close these people because you've already helped them just by making the videos and letting these people watch it, right? So you've never met them before. They're already ready to go. So a lot of the selling is done for you. That's true with any content, but if they watch 3 YouTube videos versus 3 Instagram Reels, even 10 Instagram Reels, they've still spent more time with you on YouTube in a much more intimate way than they could pretty much anywhere else. Okay, so we've gone over what a YouTube sales funnel is. Let's define success on YouTube and go over important metrics. So I linked this video that was put out by YouTube themselves called YouTube Search and Discovery, the algorithm and performance frequently asked questions. So instead of pretending that I have these secret magical insights into YouTube that no one else has, I'm just going to tell you what YouTube themselves tells us about how to do well on the platform. So how does YouTube choose what videos to push? Whether it's in a video search, on the home page, or as a suggested video, YouTube's video recommendation system finds videos for individual viewers rather than viewers for videos. Videos are not pushed or promoted by the algorithm directly. They're pulled for each individual user when they visit YouTube. So the goal for YouTube is to individually recommend videos for every single viewer based on what they actually did on the platform before. So this means instead of hacking the algorithm, you need to make videos your ICP is actually going to like. Videos are suggested to users based on hundreds of inputs that fall under 2 main categories. Viewer personalization, okay? What content does a user like and what do they just scroll past? How often do they watch a certain channel or topic? What do they engage with and watch the most? Then it's video performance. Do viewers as a whole watch the video when it's presented, or do they just click on it and skip? When people do watch, the average view duration and average percentage of the video viewed are measured by the algorithm. And most importantly, did viewers enjoy the video? And how do they measure enjoyment? It's measured by the view to like ratio, user surveys, number of positive comments, shares, downloads, watch time, everything. So the most important metric above all else is viewer satisfaction. You cannot hack your way to success on YouTube. There is no engagement pod, viral trend, buying subscribers, or tricks like that you could go viral and grow consistently. That's just stupid. Your audience has to actually enjoy watching your content. That's it. So like YouTube recommends, if you want to succeed, find out what your audience likes and just do that. So how do you do that? Okay, when it comes to the actual substance of the video, focus on these 3 areas for the best results. So 1 is the video flow, 2 is the creativity, and 3 is your charisma. So for video flow, you should plan and script your videos. You shouldn't just go off the cuff and not know what you're talking about. Follow along with a well put together document, slideshow, or even some sort of digital whiteboard or a real one. Scripting is just planning. You don't need to sound like a robot, but you should plan out the flow of the video so it makes sense and people actually get value from it. Failure to plan is planning to fail. The script can just be an outline. So don't say, oh, I don't like scripted stuff, I don't want to do it. Well, you don't need to script it word for word, but make a bullet point outline. Choose the order of topics that you go from, right? So creativity, The magic is in the idea behind the video. So great editing helps a lot with creativity, but the actual substance has to be good as well. The video idea is the first most important thing you have. That's like the foundation. If you don't have that, everything else that you stack on top of it just doesn't work. It's not going to make a good video if your idea sucks. So you're not reinventing the wheel. You just put unique spins on what works already. That is a mistake people make far too often. You don't need to copy people word for word, but if there's a trend, you should jump on it, especially in the business niche. If it's not working, don't do it. If it's working, you should probably do it. It's that simple, right? And then charisma. Your personal conviction and energy levels on camera need to be calibrated. I can't emphasize this enough. Don't be giddy, goofy, or loud for no reason. Just be confident, natural, and relaxed. Your demeanor should be socially calibrated to the content style. This is a concept that a lot of people just don't understand. What is social calibration? That means you are attuned to the energy levels you need to connect with the audience where they need to be connected with. So if you're Mr. Beast and you're making content for young kids, you need to be attention grabbing, loud, flashy, quick, to the point, exciting, over emotional. If you're making content for sophisticated markets and older people, that's not calibrated to them. That doesn't make sense for them. It just has to make sense for your audience. Just calibrate your energy to that. Most people have the problem of not having enough energy, but you could over-calibrate and overdo it. That's like wearing a tuxedo to a job interview. It's just too much. It's not socially calibrated. It's a little much, right? But you don't want to show up in pajamas either. It just has to make sense. So how do you get attention in the first place and then keep it on YouTube, right? You've got cold traffic. People are searching for things. You're showing up in a lot of different ways on the YouTube feed. How do you get their attention and then keep it? So this metric is called impression click-through rate, or CTR. That's where this comes into play. So let's define what an impression is first. All it means is that your video thumbnail showed up on a user screen somewhere while they were on YouTube, either in recommendations, the home page, or in the search results while searching for a video. The CTR measures what percentage of people clicked on your video after seeing the thumbnail and the video title. A lot of people forget that the title matters too. It's not just about how good your thumbnail is. Okay, so a good CTR is around 5 to 8%. Anything less and your thumbnail and your title probably suck. If the video picks up a lot of traction, however, now your CTR is going to drop because it's being shown to a lot more people. So that's your first relevant metric to look at. Okay, so if your video is going viral and blowing up, don't worry about it as much because you're already getting attention and the video is already performing really well. But on the way up, or within average performance for whatever that is for you, that's an important metric to look at first off. So next is audience retention. We talked about this a little bit before. No matter what, nearly every video will lose about half of its viewers within the first 30 seconds. You are not going to get around that. So for most channels, a good audience retention rate is 40 to 50% or more. If you're only keeping 20 to 30% of the people within the first 30 seconds, that tells us that you have to work on a couple different things to fix that. Because again, viewer satisfaction is important to the performance of your videos. So YouTube is going to look at that and say, people don't want to watch this. So the first thing we look at is what I call the thumbnail, title, intro combo. These are the three most important elements of getting people's attention and then keeping it to make your video perform well. So the thumbnail, the viewer sees your thumbnail first, decides if they like it within 100 milliseconds. So 1/10 of 1 second, the brain has already judged whether or not they think it looks interesting or not. Okay. Now your title, immediately after seeing the thumbnail, if it gets their attention, they're going to scan the headline and title, and they have about 3 seconds to decide if it's worthwhile to click. Okay, that's because your brain processes images faster than it does written words, but you still only have 3 seconds. So the thumbnail and the title must reinforce each other. So they have to spark curiosity, but also tell you a little bit about what the video is actually going to do. Now, if that catches their attention and they decide to click, The first 15 to 30 seconds need to heavily reinforce the viewer's decision to make that click in the first place, or else they're gone. You need to validate their curiosity and develop even more curiosity. So here's an interesting example from a blog article from Descript of this retention method being used by Mr. Beast, right? Everybody knows who that is. 7 days stranded on an island. This thumbnail, first off, it's well designed. It's unique looking, but you can see he looks beat up. He's on the shore. It says day 6. So immediately in your head, everyone has seen stranded on an island as a concept in a movie before, or a cartoon or whatever. So that's already something that his viewers have seen. They know what this is. Day 6. Clearly we can tell this guy's stranded on an island. You could pick that up in 2 seconds. And then the title reinforces that 7 days stranded on an island. Pretty obvious. But the thing is, he's on day 6. So it looks like he's not going to make it. So now you're subconsciously thinking, wow, this is really challenging. He made it 7 days, but it looks like he's not going to make it. So it looks like there's an interesting story arc subconsciously already, just because of the fact it says day 6, but the title said 7 days. So you want to see immediately what happens. How does he make it to day 7? So that curiosity happens in under 3 seconds. Okay. Now, if you were to click on and watch this video, I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But the opening line in this video is, "We are now stranded on this deserted island in the middle of the ocean, and we're going to be stranded here for the next 7 days." So the first 6 seconds are entirely dedicated to reinforcing that thumbnail and the title. They're telling you the stakes of what's going on, right? That's not the only retention trick being used. For the next 10 seconds, from 11 seconds to 20 seconds, the dialogue says, "Despite its beauty, civilization has not been able to survive on this island for over 250 years. But for the next 7 days, we're going to try to." So again, like I said, this is establishing stakes. It answers the question, so what, in the mind. You tell them, we're stranded on this island for 7 days. That's what you said here. The viewer is thinking, so what? You tell them, well, no one's been able to live here for 250 years. It is very dangerous. The stakes won't be over the top for this like with other types of content, but the premise is the same. You have to answer the so what question quickly in people's minds. So some other things you can do for video retention: make sure the first minute of the video is the most heavily edited, exciting point in the video, right? Some channels might even make a mini trailer of highlights in the first minute. Normally that's really popular for podcast channels to do. I've seen it done in other places too, and it works, and it's done for a reason, right? So you want to use good storytelling techniques. Now, I know I just said the editing should peak in the first minute of the video, but the story and the payoff and the opening of loops and curiosity should keep escalating throughout the video. It should not just be 1 minute of excitement and then a bunch of boring stuff. The video needs to keep getting better in order for it to perform. So you want the video to escalate. You want to keep loops open with unanswered questions. Movies are really good at this. I'm not going to get super deep into it now. We will jump into that later. But you want to open loops of curiosity and then promise a payoff, tease it. And then as you close one loop, keep another open. And you can layer this as many times as you want. Basically, you need to give people a reason to keep watching. Okay, and use visual progressions with editing to reinforce the concept and story. Very self-explanatory. So some people say that using video chapters in the description of a really long video like this one lets the audience choose what they want to see easily. And they make the point that a captive audience will probably just leave and click off of the video. There are mixed opinions about this. Maybe that can actually decrease the watch time of your video because maybe some people do want to watch and they are waiting for a payoff and they will stick around. If they could click everywhere they want to go, they just click and then leave. That's not necessarily good for you either. You have to play around with both. If the video is very long, like this one, over 30 minutes, probably a good idea to use chapters. If it's an average video, I really think it's overkill and unnecessary, and your audience should just be able to watch through your whole video and not be bored at any point. So Thumbnail examples. Here are some of my favorite client thumbnails. This is for Zach Colburn, another client of mine who is a lawyer. You could see a couple things about them that we'll dive into. I'm just going to scroll past them. But for design, notice what they have in common is that they are high quality, they have attention to detail, and the colors are eye-catching. Even if there's a dark background like in this one, there is enough contrast. He's wearing white, he's well lit, there's shiny stuff going on behind him. You just want it to look professional, and it needs to communicate with just a few words. Okay, why I'm on the YouTube symbol. That's just 3 words. Lawyer mind games, 3 words. Donate to your insurance, 4 words. In-person trainer, online fitness coach. You can't even read the whole thing. It's just reinforcing the contrast of before and after, or this versus that. Full guide, 150K a month. 4 words max. We're really not saying a lot, but there is attention to detail in all of these images. You don't want it to look cheap. I think a lot of people's thumbnails do look pretty cheap. Can you get a high CTR on that? You could if the video is good, but it's just going to help. You want to look professional. You want to reinforce the title, and you want it to make sense and look good. Really pretty easy, obvious to explain stuff. And so what makes them look high quality is that there's depth to the image. The colors go together. Things pop out. The background is blurred. There's depth to the image. It's some things are shiny. It just looks nice. You know what the video is probably about without seeing the title. The thumbnail opens enough curiosity to where you look at that, you understand what it's going to be, then you glance at the title, it reinforces, now we click. All right, so now that we've talked about the most important metrics on YouTube, we're going to talk about how to set up your channel and how to optimize it to make sure your channel performs well in the long term. So very first thing on your homepage, you want to make sure you have a good banner. It should be 2,560 by 1,440 pixels. You want to have a clear headshot for a profile picture. If you really don't have one, you can use a logo. I would use your face, but this is what mine looked like a couple months ago. I have the same banner. A couple things have changed on the channel, but profile picture and banner are the same. Use your first and last name for personal branding as the channel name, and write a 1,000 character keyword-rich description for your channel, including main topics and themes. Include a clear call to action link, the next step in your funnel. So this helps with SEO to a degree. It does make your channel just so clean and organized. It just doesn't make sense to have this any other way. Talk a little bit about what your channel is, use hot keywords for SEO, and make sure you clearly link where they should go next. So I have work with us, and then my LinkedIn and my Twitter. So here's how you should organize the profile page. Put your channel trailer, highlight your best converting video. Ideally, it would be one like this, your free course video. But figure out what that is for you and put that right here. So organize the content by playlist. If you have how-tos, keep those together. Client interviews, keep those together. Pretty self-explanatory. Have a custom URL. Once you have over 100 subscribers, you want to be able to claim that. Okay, so it just is easier to find you, cleaner for SEO. These are the upload defaults you want to add. So you want to have keyword tags and a description template. So every time you go to upload a YouTube video, you don't have to start from scratch. This is what works well for SEO, makes your video clean, and it's just a great way to organize the channel. So you will, in your description, you'll put the video title. You will have a CTA directly to your landing page. Again, that's where we want to funnel people the most. So that's first every single time. Then you put your summary of the video, couple paragraphs. You don't need to just spam 50 million keywords. Just use the important ones and distinctly summarize the video, and then put your links on where else they can get in contact with you. You could put one final CTA at the end. Send me a message here if you have any questions. Straight to the point. You're funneling people without confusing them, and you're optimizing for SEO. Why you put the video title first is because your first 50 to 60 characters are really going to determine where you show up in search. So if you have relevant keywords in your title and in your description right at the beginning, that's going to help you the most. You want to do channel-wide tags too. So go to YouTube Studio, settings, your channel, and then figure out with vidIQ. That's a tool. It's like 50 bucks a month, 20 bucks a month, depending what plan you're on. Find keywords that you want to rank for, use them as tags. I'll show you how to do this in the next section, but you're going to go over here. Here's a GIF explaining how this works. So you get up to 500 characters. You want to rank for certain keywords in your niche. So put them in your channel. Most people don't realize that they have channel-wide tags. They just think each individual video has a tag, but it's both. So now we're on the most important part of YouTube videos and their success. That's content ideation. So I don't know what to talk about is something that I hear a lot when someone's just getting started. There's too many options, and if you don't have any frameworks for generating ideas, that means you're just going to shoot from the hip. You know, some ideas might land. Maybe you have some ideas of, oh, this worked for this guy, I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe that works, but a lot more are probably going to flop. So the other thing it means is that if you're aware of number one, you know that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm only going to copy what works from other people. So, okay, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you though. You're probably going to tank your channel's performance. So how I would prevent that is using these 4 main ways to generate an infinite amount of ideas for YouTube content. So you have your magnum opus, competitor analysis, using proven formulas, and SEO keyword research. All of these are valid, and you should use a combination of all 4 to be most effective. So number 1, create a full guide of everything you know about your area of expertise, kind of like this one. Make a 30 to 90 minute or more free course or video series going over it. Magnum opus is greatest work by an artist, writer, or some type of craftsman. It's their masterpiece. So you don't want to take too long to make this. It isn't your real magnum opus, but on your YouTube channel, it's where the bulk of your information is in one place. So as a business owner, yours would be a living, breathing document that you continually update forever. I come into this specific document right here and add changes all the time. I would recommend using Gamma Docs, but you can use Google Docs too. This just looks way better. It's just nicer to use. The document should contain pretty much everything conceptually about what you do. So it's like you've been tasked with writing a term paper or book on your field. Again, you're going to hear that and think, oh, I need to spend 6 months on it. Don't do that, but just make it good and put as much as you can and get it done, okay? It's easy to procrastinate making this because of the complexity. I did that with this, but you don't want to do that. This will position you as the ultimate expert to someone who goes through this free course. This video is a huge asset for your funnel. All of your YouTube videos can make a CTA back to watch this. Every time you put out a new video, just say, by the way, if you want to see how I do this more in depth, go check out this hour-long free course I made. So somebody who watches that actually goes on their own, implements it. They're probably going to watch it more than once, take notes. They come to you after implementing this stuff. They will be the highest intent lead you ever could have, possibly ever, from organic content. They watched a 2-hour-long video of you and implemented it. I don't think it gets any more high intent than that. So from there, you could break your offer down into components or chapters from this magnum opus and make more detailed videos on each one. So you'd have at least 5 ideas and even more subtopics for each one almost instantly, right? So just like in this video, I could talk about metrics, I could talk about channel setup, and I could probably make a couple videos on the specific pieces of advice that I gave out in each of those. So say you're going to make a free course video on dropshipping, you can make smaller videos about the following topics and more: registering it, market research, supplier research, building the store, closing suppliers, ads, SEO, conversion rate optimization, retention marketing, hiring and operations. That's one big video and 10 sub videos right there. Second, you can do competitor analysis or stealing ideas. Just got to say it, you got to find what's working and steal it. Yes, I said not to only rely on that before, but you need to do it a little bit, and here's how you do it effectively. You don't copy the video script or the content of the video word for word or at all. You don't steal their lead magnets, and you don't try to act like somebody else. That's really stupid. So what you need to do is steal ideas and concepts. So right here, 3 videos from Alex Hormozi where he steals his own thumbnail concept. He reused it because it was working and converting. That's what you want to do. It's the same picture of him 3 times, right? So Steal the concept. Obviously, it's working if he's repeating it. You could even steal the title, steal the packaging of something, but then reword it to make sense for you. Obviously, change the numbers. Here's how you steal ideas effectively and stay original in a step-by-step format, okay? Find a channel outside of your niche. This guarantees you have fresh ideas compared to your competitors. Don't just copy your competitors. Scan the packaging, thumbnail concepts, titles that stand out. Don't watch the video. Don't do it. Steal the concept. This email strategy made me over 2 million. So I might make a video and say, this YouTube strategy made me over 20 million. And I do a similar concept of the thumbnail. I point at something like this and it's revenue numbers, whatever. That is a concept that's proven to work on YouTube. My video, especially if I don't watch his and get subconscious ideas, is guaranteed to be very different from his video, but the concept is one that I stole and it works. So number 3 is using proven formulas. And if you're lazy, looking for the quickest option, I don't blame you. You could just use these plug and play template titles. These templates are used a lot by YouTube creators because these concepts are proven and they leave you a lot of room for creativity so that, again, like the one before, your video is actually still unique if you just make your own version of it. So these are here. I'm just gonna scroll past them. You could pause the video and write them down or screenshot this. I'm not gonna read through every single one because there's a lot, but what you can do is find titles, concepts that have been reused constantly on YouTube and make your own version of it. Pretty much the same as the step before. And so number 4, SEO keyword research. YouTube SEO is extremely simple. You want to find keywords and key phrases or questions, make a video about them, and then use those keywords and questions in your video titles, descriptions, channel tags, and your video tags. It's pretty much it, right? The most popular YouTube SEO tool is vidIQ. 99% of content agencies and creators are going to say that vidIQ is pretty much all they use for keyword research. Most of the other features aren't really relevant to start using for this video. The tool has a lot of depth to it, but most people I know don't use vidIQ for anything else other than keyword research. So that's all you really need it for. So I do show below how I like to use it to do keyword research. You want to start with your niche. So mine would be YouTube sales funnels, put that in the search bar, find related keywords, and then use them. Pretty simple. So here's what that looks like on vidIQ. Go over here to keywords, type in YouTube sales funnels. That ranks pretty high. It's in the green. That's what you want to look for. I found matching keywords. You also want to go up over here on the right, just see what ranks and then see if you can make videos about it. That's it. Try to come up with as many original inputs as you can because you don't want to rely on just one search like this. You could find more, but yeah, repeat the above steps for each one you come up with. Another thing you can do, you could put in the entire title of your video, see if it ranks well. It doesn't work for just singular keywords. It's also good for entire phrases. And something that's important to know is that the vidIQ score isn't something you want to live and die by. It is really helpful, but it's not required to get results on YouTube. If you're making good, useful content, just try to include important keywords about your niche as much as possible, and you'll start to rank for those keywords if the videos are good. The SEO and the title and the vidIQ score will not save a bad video. You want the video to be good so that people like it, they interact with it, they watch a large percentage of it, and you rank. So I do want to cover this even though it's something I don't use. Rapid Tags.io is a free tool that generates tags for YouTube. It's extremely easy. All you do is enter in a keyword. The tool will generate tags similar to the one you entered. The vidIQ method is way better because you could actually see where it ranks. This doesn't do that. So not all the tags it generates are actually worth using, but it's quick, easy, and it's free. If you want something, I guess this is better than nothing. I would just use vidIQ. The best approach is to experiment with both. Obviously, see what you come up with. This is what it looks like. Klaviyo, email marketing, search. Okay, a bunch of these. I'm sure some of these rank because obviously it's pulling them from somewhere, but again, you can't really tell. It just gives you a bunch and then you're stuck with them. So where to use these keywords? Again, video title, video tags, the video description. And no, don't just take a list of keywords and spam it at the bottom of your description. Not really a good idea. Only the first 200 characters or so matter for your description anyway. And you'd rather have that real estate go to your landing page with the CTA so viewers know where to go if they're actually on your video and then they want to go book a call. 2 to 4 paragraph summary will do. Just use as many keywords as you can fit that make sense, and then your channel-wide tags. So I want to give a quick shout out to Devin Jatho because this idea generation method is from him. I think it works really, really well. You basically pick a core topic. I'll take personal finance, for example. Immediately pick 3 subtopics: budgeting, investing, retirement planning. You could probably do that, in 2 seconds with your eyes closed. Now, you use these 6 frameworks, which you can bookmark somewhere, and then you make 6 videos on each of these 3. So that's 18 video ideas directly on the spot from one core topic. So you make a quick tip about it. You talk about industry myths in another one, common mistakes people make, personal stories, common questions that people have, and then some sort of actionable step-by-step sequence about that subtopic, right? Budgeting, how to set up a budget step-by-step, how to start investing step-by-step, how to start retirement planning step-by-step. And then the rest are extremely easy. So this format works super well. All of these videos perform well. People are always searching for, top 5 mistakes. That is a concept on YouTube that just probably will never go out of style. So really, really good method right there. So I'm going to end this section with a word on vlogs. The first type of content that comes to mind for a lot of people is vlogs, day in the life videos. It's a sexy idea. It's exciting. People like it. I do not recommend relying on those videos and expecting good results. We covered this in the first part of this video, but when it comes to driving revenue for your services, most vlogs are not effective. People are busy. Anybody who's serious has to really like you to invest time watching your day to day, unless you're selling a biz op and that's part of it. But for the most part, business owners especially are looking for solutions to save time and make more money. Consumers want a transformation. That's where a vlog might sell your lifestyle, but they still have to get value from it. Otherwise, you're just flexing on them, and that's not enough in and of itself. They actually have to get some value mixed in there too. So vlogs can be effective in limited doses if they give value and sell the transformation your product or services can help them achieve. The value of these videos comes from the positioning of the video as a world builder for your personal brand. So what gets shown in the vlog has to be authentic and actually work at selling the audience on the dream outcome that your offer claims that they can get. If you're selling a program on how to make 6 figures online with drop shipping, for example, the vlog should show off some of your work and tastefully show the perks of the time and financial freedom of your lifestyle. It's not a giant flex video. It's a little flex. It really should also humanize you by showing small, intimate moments in your day-to-day interactions with your team, your life outside of work, get people more bought into you and your personal brand if you are going to go the vlog route. So done correctly, your audience will put themselves in your shoes and say, I want this to be my life. They will be more bought into your personal brand. That's how you make them effective. The actual events in the video that you show the audience need to make sense and bring you closer to the end goal of getting more leads from the channel. If you're a financial planner, you can show a day in the life that involves you investing money, working, having fun with your family, having a normal life without being stressed by finances. You don't want to be on a private jet unless your clients are at the top of the income bracket. But even then, you don't want to be flexing on your clients. If you're a lawyer, you definitely want to avoid the flashy stuff. Your clients don't want to be you. So that's not going to work. They want to see what you're like to make sure you're trustworthy. So this should really humanize you. There's really no room for flexing at all in a lawyer's marketing as far as I'm concerned. So a trip to court or travel to different locations where certain incidents happen that are relevant in cases you've done, that would work. Okay, so now we're at YouTube Scripting 101. Here's a chart of the basic format for YouTube video scripts. You have the hook. It's an attention-grabbing opener, usually the first 30 seconds or so. You frequently want to use a lot of numbers. 5 biggest problems you'll face. I made $1 million in 23 days. It just quantifies things for people. The claims seem more realistic. People are attracted to numbers, especially in the hooks of your content. Cost narrative versus regular positioning. Cost narrative is exactly what I said. So instead of saying, I tried 100 colognes, here's the best one, you want to say, narrate the cost of what it took you to do that. I spent 50 hours and $20,000 trying 100 colognes. Here's the best one. You want to quantify the work with time and money that went into you coming up with your conclusion. It makes it seem way more valuable and credible. Now, you want to follow up the hook with the interest peak, which I'll explain here in a second, and show social proof as much as you can immediately in the hook. Most B2B channels that talk about making money or getting results show screenshots of those results. You probably should do that. So the interest peak is the second half of your hook. It confirms the viewer's decision to stay. So you'll say things like, I did XYZ results in ABC days, and pay attention because, or, and I know what you're thinking, that sounds like BS, but here's why. And this is the same strategy that this authority figure used to get this result. Okay, so you want to reinforce the hook, pretty self-explanatory, but most people just think of the hook as one part. You actually need to put a secondary reinforcing couple of statements in there. Now, the body of your hook, when you're scripting, you want to give a ton of value. And again, the 3 buckets of content of having actionable tutorials, educating the audience, or just showing your results with case studies. You want to script these out, all of them, following a bullet point outline. So you don't want to sound like a robot. A word for word video script all the way through will not work for 90% of people. What you want to do is just give yourself the ability to go off the top of your head while following a solid structure, so you know you're not going to go up in Pluto and get lost, but you have the freedom and flexibility to just give your expertise raw and organic on camera. And finally, for your call to action, you want to follow a power offer format. This is something that was made popular by a guy named Joel Urway. He's a great marketer. The power offer is a really powerful format for making an elevator pitch. It basically explains, hey, here's why what I just said was valuable. You can get a ton of value using what I just gave on your own, but you don't have all the answers, so you're probably going to run into this, this, and this. That's why you should go to the next step in my funnel, because I can help you save time with this, this, and this. And you just basically lay out the logical case for why they should make the next step. It's really important to do that because, again, people need to be continuously sold the entire video. Don't think that just because you got through 10 minutes of value that they're going to believe you when you tell them that you got these results and that they need to book the next thing. You need to, again, continue laying out that logical case for them. So you want to use 1 to 2 call to actions per video max. You can say the power offer format, book a call, and remind them to subscribe. That's it. You don't want to say, oh, and also check out this video and subscribe and like and comment and go click the link in the description. Too much. Keep 1 or 2 of those, make one the main one, and throw in an extra if you really feel like it. So here's an example script for one of my clients in the online fitness coaching niche. Easiest way to start online fitness coaching in 2024. This was from last year. We have the hook, first 30 seconds. The body, we have some notes explaining what this video is going to be about to help them get through it. And then we break it into bullet points so that it's a clear guide on what needs to be covered and why and in what order, but it leaves it up to interpretation so they can just talk about what they know. They're the expert, not me. And even if it's you writing your own scripts, you don't want to waste your time going word for word when it's just way easier to follow a guideline and sound natural and organic on camera and still get to the point. The videos will perform better if you follow this format. Then we get to the outro. So this is that power offer format. If they follow every single step, you promise they will start to see the dream coming together for them. But here's why doing it alone is a bad idea. Logical case, and then you let them know what options they have, and then you direct them with where to go if they want to continue learning more from you. So scripting do's and don'ts, right? Cost narrative, we covered that. This is what that means in a little bit more detail. Transformation versus acceleration. Consumers want to change their situation generally, and businesses want results faster. So selling consumers on secret info they won't get anywhere else that they can help change their situation is really powerful. But you want to sell businesses on how to buy back their time with some new skill or untapped method or new way of looking at things that their competitors don't have. Slightly different sales psychologically. The infinite idea generation, we covered that before. Using negative hooks, you don't want to overuse this, just be aware of that. But call out your viewers' desire to change their current state by addressing the pain head on. Nobody cares if you have a secret, but here's the secret to making more money. Maybe that works, but really what they care about is getting out of their situation, especially if they're a consumer. Here's how to stop being broke is way more powerful than here's the secret how you can make more money. Okay, this is a big one too. The influencer intro is ruining your videos, especially if you're doing short form content. Never say, in this video, I'm going to talk about, or hey guys, it's Adam here, or what's up Instagram? Today we're going to talk about, maybe you get away with that on YouTube. Maybe. Most of the time you shouldn't, but especially in short form, don't do that. Just don't. It's not good. So the ultimate value test, when you have the script for your initial idea, sit back, ask yourself, would I pay $100 to access this information? Is it worth somebody spending $100? Do they actually get something out of it? Would you feel confident for charging $100 to give somebody this? For short form, maybe ask yourself if you'd pay $5 for it. It should be worth something. Otherwise, you got to start from scratch and you got to come up with a better idea in the first place. And do not use industry-specific jargon no matter what. Forget the 5th grade reading level. Aim for a 3rd grade reading level. Maybe that's sarcastic, but you really got to dumb it down. I just can't emphasize that enough. You have to keep it simple. All right, so going more into detail on the hooks of the video, you have to make it the most compelling part of the video. Cost narrative, we went over that. That's a great technique here. Showing the ROI and attaching value to your information makes it more valuable and interesting to your audience. Self-explanatory, right? An amazing retention metric for YouTube would be to keep over 50% of your viewers after the first 30 seconds. We also went over that earlier. The drop off is always going to happen. 50% of people will always click off. You can't change that, but you can get it as high as you possibly can. And you can control that with the right practices. So aside from cost narrative, there is one more powerful technique that I want to talk about that will change the way you write content forever. Let's talk about open loops. Here's a graphic, okay? Here's what you deliver. You start here, you're delivering, and you don't finish the point all the way. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. They're anticipating closure. You make your audience wait. You do have to deliver the payoff. Otherwise, you've broken your promise to the audience and they will not care what you have to say anymore. But you don't just want to give it all away right up front. There is a little bit of a dance here. So let's talk more about it. This is from Jay Acunzo. He is an excellent copywriter, much more than that. I can't recommend him enough. These concepts are from him. I don't know if he invented the open loop, but what I can tell you is he's got some of the best resources I've ever seen on this topic. And this is a popular trending topic in script writing and copywriting and this kind of niche. So it is extremely important to dive into. So why do people binge watch Netflix shows? Okay, mindless entertainment, yeah, but what makes people stick around glued to the screen almost out of their own control? Bad shows don't do that. The good ones do. Why? You want to find out how it ends and how they get there. So you want answers to things that the show is building anticipation about. Who was the killer? How will they fix the problem? What's the ending, right? That desire to find out is the key to the power of the open loop. That is what you're not getting. You're getting most of the story slowly being trickled out, but you wait for the payoff. That's what it is. So Jay Acunzo's blog is an incredible read on good writing in the open loop concept. These are excerpts from 2 of his articles. I'm going to read them now because I think they're that important. An open loop is a moment of tension left unresolved. The loop begins to open, but we haven't closed it yet. People are hardwired to crave that closure, and that's what turns something flat into something gripping, a story. Sometimes we can introduce tension overtly by asking questions to the audience. Why are things like this, dear reader? Mostly, those questions are more implicit, the result of a story left unfinished or a promise yet to be fulfilled. The loop opens, and we desperately want it to close. That's the job of creating work that matters. It's not about who arrives, it's about who stays. And those people evangelize our ideas to others, and the movement gains momentum. Don't just grab attention, hold it. Don't try to be relevant, try to be their favorite. And our jobs get a whole lot easier when we ask important questions, investigate unsolved problems, and wield tension as a tool to grip people, inspire them, and spark change. Open loops come in many forms. Sometimes they feel grand. Even before the first episode aired, the very name Game of Thrones opened a loop for us. Who will sit on the throne when this is over? That loop remained open for 10 years later. Oh, wait, him? Really? I have some notes, Jay says, right? It turns out the payoff needs to match the initial intrigue to satisfy audiences. Otherwise, the open loop was empty hype. The closure matters too. Not all open loops are so big and far-reaching, however. Many are much smaller, and these are the ones we can use to pull out meaningful stories from the seemingly day-to-day. We may not tell stories like Game of Thrones, but that doesn't mean we aren't surrounded by stories worth telling. For example, simply by using the word "but" in that previous sentence, I wrote a more enjoyable, higher impact sentence. But is the smallest storytelling device and the tiniest open loop there is. It's a dense little dose of tension, a question you can raise before answering it in the clause that follows. But is the tiniest storytelling tool. At least that's what I thought, because then I remembered the asterisk. When you see a sentence end with an asterisk, you're immediately intrigued. It's a spiky little promise of something to come, something more, something deeper, and something nuanced. Reality is messy. There's more to the story. We still have questions. Find the footnote for the answers. If your question starts here, then your answers may be here. Why the asterisk? By including it in my logo, I hope to remind myself and you to always embrace the power of uncertainty. I want us to question the conventional wisdom more, to look past superficial explanations, and to poke holes in the best practices in order to find the truth. I hope to remind myself that reality is messy, nuance matters, and this creative work we do is about depth in a world trending shallow. Why the asterisk? Because the real work of creators unfolds in the minutia, the tiny things, the little details or footnotes others ignore. That's why I love deconstructing the created work, because there the craft unfolds. Creativity isn't a gift, it's a practice. So, all of that to say, use the concept of open loops in your scripts. Even if it's in small ways. If that doesn't convince you, I don't know what else would. We're not writing a 10-episode Netflix series, but the concept is still powerful in brief 8 to 10 minute videos for YouTube, or any content for that matter. Be interesting, create questions for your audience, guide them to the answers, but keep opening more questions along the way to answer so that they don't get bored. A final note on open loops. Jay makes a point in the article that opening a loop is easy. Any clickbait headline can do this. 99% of business owners make this one huge mistake, for example. The payoff needs to match the logic and intensity of the initial claim. Otherwise, you will disappoint the audience, they'll feel like they've been tricked, and they'll tune out. Some other major points to close this out. Address your audience at the level of awareness that they would be at having clicked on the video. Are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? Are they product or brand aware? Address this within your audience call out at the start of the video. Don't assume they know things that they don't know. Establish preeminence. Reflect the inner thoughts and feelings that your audience has based on their awareness level, better than they could. You want them to feel like they would have said that or that you read their mind. Qualify and disqualify your audience. For example, say the info in this video could genuinely change your life. So if you don't have the attention span of a TikTok kid, then keep watching. You're qualifying that you only want serious people that pay attention to watch the video. Tie watching the video to success. Make a promise that if they pay attention to your video, they'll have all the information they need to achieve the dream outcome that they're looking for. Help them throw rocks at their enemies. Single out and vividly describe the problem that's in their way from them achieving their dream outcome. Show them the gap. Twist the knife about their current situation to bring feelings of the gap between where they are now and where they want to be bigger. I'm not like the other guys. Position your knowledge one step above the other videos on this topic to establish yourself as the authority and one source of truth on this topic. Do this by mocking and calling out the other information and relating with the confusion that they're feeling with all the info that's out there in the other videos. You see this all the time. To give you an example, gurus love to say, and I know there's other gurus saying that this method works and this method works, but I'm here to tell you that all of that is junk and this is what you should pay attention to, right? You hear that a lot, but it's powerful and there's a reason why people do that. So use it with honesty, but it is powerful and pay attention to it. Use social proof. Again, provide proof in your hook. Always showing is better than telling. Start with a claim and back it up with a screenshot. Can't get more simple than that. Provide irrefutable visual evidence and proof of claims you make in your hook. So that was the hook. Now for the body, it's very important to understand that scripting word for word is a waste of time. Unless we're scripting an ad or your primary video sales letter, then there's no need for word scripting. Some people disagree, but my thoughts on this are: one, you're a business owner that wants to make educational content that gets leads for your business. That's an assumption. Two, we're not writing a TV series or your best man speech. We're sharing helpful information to get leads. Also, you'll be filming a lot of screen share videos and videos at your desk or in your office. Ideally, I'm assuming you'll want to put one video up per week, about 8 to 12 minutes long. That's what most of these kinds of videos are. And I asked ChatGPT, it says most presentations comfortably flow at 100 to 150 words per minute. So as a busy business owner, would you rather write 200 words for the hook and the outro and make some bullet points? You could just go off the top of your head about things you already know about. Or would you rather write a 1,000-word essay every time you want to make a video, line by line, just to get it perfect, only to end up sounding like a robot when you're actually reading it? Because that's what's going to happen. So I'll let you decide, which of those you'd rather do. On average, it should take about 30 to 40 minutes to write a really good script for your YouTube video in the bullet point format, and maybe another 30 minutes to film it. So you've got about, assuming 20 minutes of raw footage for an 8 to 12 minute video. That's how long it should take you. So most important things to keep in mind: make sure it's actually valuable. Again, would you charge for this? And two, keep opening loops. Don't close them all at once. Give them reasons to keep watching. Okay, some other major points here. Bullet point format should never be word for word, self-explanatory. Be socially calibrated. Speak to your audience at the awareness level that they're at. Don't waste time explaining things they already know, and don't assume that they know things they might not. Okay, be very careful with what you're saying and to who. What, why, how framework. Very important. If all else fails, say what the point is, explain why you're making that point, why they should know it, and then walk them through how to implement the point you're talking about. Extremely powerful. Finally, you have the social proof moat. You can make the same video as someone else, but if they have done 20 million in client results and you've done $200 in client results, they're going to get all the views. You're probably not going to get that much. And that's just the reality. The moat that you have sometimes isn't being unique or original. It's just having a claim and being able to back it up. So for the outro, this is where most people make mistakes. It's easy to let your foot off the gas at the end. You've delivered tons of value, kept the audience interested. So now just tell them to like and subscribe or book a call, and that's it, right? Wrong. Even if you just gave the best advice in the history of the world for 15 minutes straight, the audience is tuning out as soon as you enter pitch mode. So what's the answer? What do you say? Joel Urway's power offer is the answer. Here's a link to his website and his paid workshop on this. The power offer is a simple framework for a logical sales argument that justifies your call to action at the end of the video. You're still delivering value, speaking to the audience, rather than switching into pitch mode and making them tune out. The way that I use this formula for outros in YouTube video looks something like this. So for this video, okay, so that covers YouTube scripting 101. Now that you've gone through this video, you'll definitely be a much better writer and get more leads from your content. I'm validating. But having said that, there's still so much more than scripting that goes into building out YouTube sales funnels that print. And I can't possibly cover it all in this video, otherwise it'd be 10 hours long. That's why I created my free course on the entire YouTube sales funnel strategy. It covers this, and this. So you've got two choices. Take what I've given you here, you'll do much better than before, but run into lots of roadblocks in other places, or you could click the link in the description to download my free course, right? I just made a logical argument. It makes sense. It's easy to follow. You're probably not going to tune out as at least at the rate that people would if I just started pitch, right? That will always beat a generic outro. We're not doing a full recap. That you don't do a recap. All I said was that covers YouTube scripting and I moved on. Do not recap it. They can just go back and watch. That nobody wants to see that. Remind the audience they're better off with the info you gave them, but there's more they're going to run into that they don't have. And without these extra puzzle pieces, they're going to have a hard time. You're amplifying the pain. Now, with that explanation, you have primed them to accept a solution. You've pointed out, hey, by the way, this is good stuff, but it's not enough. You're going to run into this. So now they are mentally ready to accept a solution because you've presented a problem, right? They don't have all the answers. Another concept to keep in mind for outros is to not make too many asks at once. Throw in a like and subscribe to the end in addition to the main power offer, or just make the main offer call to action to watch another video on the channel about a related topic. Limit your call to actions to 1 to 2 asks from the audience. Like and subscribe, you could say counts as one. People throw that together all the time, but you want to make a CTA, remind them to like and subscribe. Don't ask them to also comment or leave a like or don't combine things like that. It's just a bad idea. Okay. So steps to follow, reiterate the concept. Assure the info that you shared is good, alert them of oncoming danger, validate the dangers, position your offer as the antidote, and then make the call to action your next step. Simple as that. I want to jump into how to read from a script to close this point off. When filming the scripted portion of the video, use a teleprompter. That's the easiest thing you can do. Just invest in them. They're cheap. If you have any kind of film setup, that should be no problem. You have to maintain eye contact with the camera lens while you're reading a script though. Otherwise it doesn't look good, okay? Don't get a CapCut teleprompter, a real one that goes over the camera. If you're looking a few inches below or above the camera lens, it's not gonna look good. It's gonna be really noticeable in a bad way. So if you don't have a teleprompter, you can just use the 2-line method. Memorize 1 to 2 lines of your script at a time, then look into the camera and say the lines. Finish your statement and then look away. Keep repeating every few lines until you've made it through the entire script. The intro and outro should only be about 30 seconds, a minute apiece tops. You can get through that pretty quickly. Okay, so we're at the post-production phase of YouTube, right? So we're gonna talk about raw edits versus fancy edits. These are some highlights. Fancy editing or expensive looking editing usually means there's a lot of motion graphics being used, things like that take a lot of time. Okay, so this GIF above is a few different segments from a client video that has used a lot of motion graphics, right? There's a lot of different editing styles. Not all of them look like this, but you will pay more for editing that is fancy because motion graphics take more skill and time to make. Pretty obvious. Adobe After Effects is a whole other software that editors need to learn. Most video editors aren't pros at After Effects. They know how to use other softwares to clip content. Now, on the other hand, there was and still is the whole raw content movement, which means, videos that have no editing. It's raw, it's organic, it's real. Creator sits in front of the camera, records a selfie video on their phone, talks right to the audience with no filter. You've seen it. Now, this favors new creators, anyone with no budget, somebody who just wants to just pump out content all the time without thinking about it. This style can even make you more credible to an audience by making you appear genuine, right? There's a time and a place to use it psychologically, but I don't recommend only doing this to 99% of people. If you're extremely comfortable on camera, have a lot of charisma and want to sell your personality, you can get away with just doing this. I would say that most creators succeed in spite of doing this, if they do, rather than directly because of it most of the time. Editing has its place, especially what I call socially calibrated editing. This means you're not doing flashy Mr. Beast style editing, designed to hold the attention of 12-year-olds if your audience is more sophisticated than that. Socially calibrated editing means that the style, including your pacing, colors, effect choices, graphics, fonts, all of that matches your brand and makes sense. Elegant, sophisticated brands use serif fonts, neutral colors, moderate pacing, and minimal but realistic effects. Marketing agencies can use more flashy motion graphics, faster pacing to give the viewer a feel that they're on the cutting edge of technology. Here's an example of what editing can do to the ethos of your brand. This is one of my clients, Mondo. His short form clip got 650,000 impressions on LinkedIn in 1 week. Here's a GIF with a little segment of it. He has over now, at the time of recording, 30,000 followers on the platform. And before working together, his top post had 200,000 impressions. So we tripled that. And right before working together, LinkedIn started pushing short form content in their new video tab, right? All it took to make huge jumps in content performance was to increase the quality of videos. We didn't change anything else. He had selfie videos that were unedited before, right? This wasn't his first video, but it was one of the first ones that we did together. So obviously I recorded it in person so you could see it's sharp. It looks like it's recorded well. It's lit well. We used a good mic for the audio and the editing was better than he had before. The quality jumped up and so did the impressions. All it took to make huge jumps in content performance was to increase the quality of the videos. We didn't change any other variables. Recorded in with a good camera, it was well lit, we used a good mic for the audio, and made the editing quality better. That's it. Now, the video script was already one of his top performing text posts that he'd made over a year before. So we didn't even change topics or scripts. All we did with his following on LinkedIn at that specific moment was increase the quality of editing alone, and that increased his video performance by a lot. Not to mention all the comments he was getting on the professional look and referrals he sent my way that wanted to do business just because they noticed the quality increase. So people see these things, right? Like raw content can still convert. Your message and idea is the most important, but don't think that your audience isn't paying attention, okay? So here's an example of some fancy editing. It might be going slow because this GIF is a lot, but here's something I've done for a client before. This is some motion graphic stuff. This just looks expensive. This looks difficult to do. It looks nice. So yes, it's true. You cannot put a dollar value on cool editing and it will not save a bad video. You know, shooting in 4K with good lighting, audio, and motion graphics doesn't make you more money on its own. The ROI of good production quality is mostly intangible, but it is there. I get asked all the time, is editing really worth it? Is fancy editing worth it? And I always say, the answer is up to you. Do you want your brand to look cheap? I've yet to see an argument that higher production quality that is socially calibrated and on brand, meaning it's not over the top and doesn't make sense, but I've yet to see that that has made anybody less money. Invest in the highest level of content that you can to reap the full benefits of doing it in the first place. It's not just a nice to have to look better. If your competitors look better than you, they are actively beating you. All right, I'm going to throw this in here too at the end. This is a very, very small SEO tip, but you want to put the main keyword to the title of the video file that you upload. So you know, whatever the video file is that you're going to upload, change the title of that file name to be the main keyword you want to promote. I don't know why this works. I've seen it shared around enough that it is worth mentioning. Is this going to make or break your video performance? Probably not, but it's out there. So I just thought I would make you aware of it. And it doesn't hurt. It takes 2 seconds to do. All right. So here is how to do cross-platform promotion with YouTube content. This is a breakdown of the video production process from kicking off a project with the client all the way to promoting the video on other platforms. And I will cover a few of these methods in depth below. Start with project kickoff. We start the research phase. I'm looking for SEO keywords, looking at competitors, looking at, you know, people in other niches with similar positioning that we can borrow. Coming up with a custom idea strategy sheet for the client. The top performing ideas I think will work for them. Then we start scripting when we choose which ones we're going to actually turn into videos. So if they need to do a screen share like this, we will prepare the document, help the client film if possible, or they'll film on their own. And then it goes into post-production. So we start editing, the cuts get made, whatever effects we're going to use get added. We get the thumbnail created. We do the SEO optimization ahead of time. We find the tags we want to use, things like that, the title, description, tags, and then we post it. Now we're not done when we post it. We have all this over here. So first thing you want to do is go to URL Genius and create a deep link so that when you promote this on other platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn, it'll actually open in the YouTube app, especially if you're on mobile. It's not going to open up in a Safari browser tab, which most people aren't going to watch. They're going to immediately click out of that. The deep link allows you to have the app opened. It does help with conversions for getting people to actually view it. Okay. So now you can have it as a pre-call sales asset. You can use the video, send it to your newsletter. I would definitely do that. We can embed the video on LinkedIn, embed it on your Twitter, make a story post about it on Instagram. In the YouTube home feed, it's going to be there, right? So on Twitter especially, you can do an auto DM lead magnet giveaway. The video could be used as a lead magnet, right? If you've ever used Hype Fury, that's a scheduling software. You can create lead magnet giveaways. It'll automatically DM it to people who enter a certain keyword. I would do that. I would keep having it retweeted. That's a setting on Hype Fury as well, and create a long form thread about it. This used to be popular. It's not as much anymore, but it is an option that you have on Twitter. All of this is pushing people to book a call. That's the whole process. Okay. So I go through some of these steps here in this document that I just explained, but using deep links is important. And the idea, again, is that YouTube spends millions to make sure that the viewing experience is effortless so that you stay on the app longer and watch more ads. Other platforms don't want you to leave by clicking on a YouTube link. They know that if the link opens in a browser instead of sending you to the YouTube app, you'll probably close the video and keep scrolling. They're sabotaging your video performance. And what a lot of people are doing now, especially on Twitter, is they're not even linking the YouTube video, because I've seen that YouTube knows if your traffic is coming from other platforms. And if you post it on Twitter and get hundreds of people clicking on your YouTube video from a Twitter link, one, Twitter is probably going to suppress that because they don't want people leaving. And two, YouTube is not going to boost your video's performance on their platform because they know the traffic to that video is coming from Twitter, not from YouTube. So YouTube will judge the video with more favoritism, for lack of a better term, if a bunch of people are searching in the YouTube search engine, you or your video title. So I've seen that done a lot. A lot of people aren't even using these links anymore, but you got to play with both and see what works for you. This is what using URL Genius looks like. You literally just paste in the link to your YouTube video, come up with a custom link, and then use that one. And I just go through how to do auto DM campaigns. This will be in the document. I'm not going to go through all this now, but here is what some of the formatting looks like for that. Again, it's commenting a keyword. Okay. And I'm not saying that this is the best auto DM you've ever seen, but this is just typically what this looks like, right? Here's what the tweet would look like. Here's what the DM looks like. And here's a GIF explaining, here's how this works on Hype Fury, where the auto DM section is. Okay. So now you have leads you could reach out to and follow up with them. You grow really quickly on Twitter if you do this. You don't want to overdo it, but Twitter's the hardest platform to grow on organically. So doing these things does help a lot. Okay, and now we're getting into filming tips for these YouTube videos. There are 3 main types of framing for most videos in the YouTube sales funnel type of content. And by framing, I mean, what does the video look like? Is there no screen share? It's just talking head or something else like that. Are you doing a screen share with either you taking up a lot of space on the left side or you're in the bottom right somewhere? That's usually what I see. So since we'll be going over a lot of the value-based educational content, the screen share recording format will be a majority of these videos. It doesn't have to be, but for a lot of people, it will be. Most people will use the easiest tools they have available, Loom and Google Docs. Using Loom and Google Docs is not what I'd recommend though. It just looks boring. Your retention will suffer. So take a look at this below, right? This is Google Docs. I've got Loom. It just looks bad. I wouldn't watch this. It's hard to follow. It's formatted to be clean, but it, you know, you're inside of a word processor. There's all these tools and buttons. It just doesn't look good. The retention on these videos is not as good, even if it's the same information, same presentation as what I'm showing you here. It's just way easier to follow when it looks better. So for documents, I'd use what I'm using now, Gamma Docs. That's what this is. It's like Google Docs, but with the focus on design and ease of use. There's a lot of plug and play charts, diagrams, cool templates. I can literally just pull something up over here and just drop it in, and it looks good. I mean, right off the bat, like that, I don't have to do anything. So, you know, you could do mind maps, flow charts, digital whiteboards, Miro, Lucidchart, Canva. Those work well for presentation style videos. You don't want to overdo those, but they do work and you could use them. So for screen recording software, I would use OBS. It's free, open source, gives you tons of flexibility compared to Loom. It just looks better. What I call the left side screen share setup, it sort of looks like this. Again, I just did this for an example, so don't mind the poor image quality. But, you know, the size, basically, I put the screen share and then I put, you know, the face camera here, 729 pixel wide camera shot, and the dock is 1179. You don't have to be exact, but I just messed with it and found what looked good for me. So you can copy that and not have to think about it. It really doesn't matter, but that's what I found to work. And this is what it looks like for the viewer on YouTube. And here's what it looks like for you. So you don't want this OBS thing to show up, and you want to make sure that this is condensed the right way. So I just sized the tab to be about this big. And what I did was, again, size this to 729, make this 1179, and then make it match. Right? Basically move the browser to fit the 1179 screen area that you chose. All right. Now for a bottom right corner screen share, I have my camera feed in a square sized 360 by 360 for the actual recording. You know, you don't want to use present mode up here in Gamma Docs. It doesn't look good. And minimize this film strip over here. You don't want it to look like this. You can do this. That helps. Make sure your browser is on full screen mode. There's another thing you can do where you could select the OBS to only fit the window. You want to hide your bookmarks tab, but you could leave the search bar visible. I think that's just what looks the cleanest. Really just personal preferences, but I'm telling you my blueprint. This is exactly how I do it. So you will have to record your entire screen. You won't have OBS software visible while you're filming. There is a setting, I didn't update it. I think it's new, or maybe I just didn't see it. But when I was with a client the other day, you could set to where you can open the OBS window, but it won't screen record it. It'll know not to record that. So you can just select that setting as well when you're setting this up. So another size that looks good is 537 by 520 pixels, slightly bigger square without wide cards enabled. So this card right here, you could change the way it's viewed to make it a little bit more narrow on the screen. Really getting into nitpicky stuff here, but this is exactly how I set up OBS, Gamma Docs for these videos. Ultimately, they just convert better than OBS and Loom. Okay, it really doesn't matter. Just don't overthink it. Just make sure that they can see your face and they can read the document at the same time. And finally, you just want to follow the rule of thirds. That's what this looks like. This just geometrically looks the best to your brain when you're framing an image. So you want to be centered perfectly and make sure that your face isn't super low on the whatever part is showing your face, right? You want to have just a little bit of space above your head. A lot of times I get videos back from clients, they look bad because they don't follow this, they don't know, but it has to look symmetrical. Just appeals to your lizard brain. So these are some settings for how to set up OBS step by step. I'm not going to read them, but I will leave them up here and scroll through so that you can screenshot. So this is for Mac. This is for your iPhone. If you're recording with your iPhone, you can use continuity camera. You want to turn Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on and follow this. It's just explaining what I have here. So that's a nice little GIF I made. Okay, continuity camera. Step 3, follow these steps. Again, just screenshot, and you will be in a good spot. I give this to all my clients and help them set this up. If I'm in person, I just do it for them, but this guide you can use and it works for anybody. Now, what I want to cover here is gear tips, right? I'm thinking of buying a camera. What should I get? I get this question a lot. you know, it's the right idea, but usually most people are mistaken that if they just spend all their money on a nice camera, that's going to help them look professional. But really, you got to get a good audio setup first. That's actually more important than the image quality of your videos. It makes them listenable. A lot of people aren't even going to watch the whole thing. They'll just listen. It has to sound good. You shouldn't buy an expensive camera without having good lighting either. I've got a whole umbrella light up here. I've got a second light up here. This studio is set up to look and sound good. That's what's most important. The camera I have, yeah, it shoots 4K. It's not even that great. It's a Sony ZV-E10, $600. Okay, I could do this with an iPhone, but with this setup, it would look and sound way better than most people, right? So here's what I prioritize: audio, lighting, then camera quality. And I just have gear recommendations here. So wireless mic, DJI Mic 2, wired, you've got the Shure MV7X. That's what I have here. The bigger, better version of that is the Shure SM7B. But honestly, if you have it set up right, most people aren't going to be able to tell that there's a difference. You could use a Focusrite Scarlett Solo. I'm using something else to record the audio into, but that's how you get the audio into your computer, because you can't plug a microphone in. You don't want to use a USB microphone if you don't have to. So you need this audio interface to convert your microphone signal into your computer. For lighting, I'd use the Aperture Light Dome. You want to get, the big one is cool. You could use the mini one. That's fine too. You could use a lantern light. Those work really well. It fills light more evenly across the room. You know, I wouldn't just mess around. I'd consult with somebody on your setup first, but generally this is what they're going to tell you to get. Get one of these lights. That's going to be your main. It's super bright. You're really not going to need more than one of these unless you're going really high end. You could get something else that's cheaper to fill in as a fill light. This is the stand that I recommend. All of this is going to be linked in the document. And then if you really just want to get a cheap kit, I would go with this. It's going to be better than nothing. As far as mounting your camera, you could get this phone holder. There's all these other different types of phone holders here that work really well. You could mount it on your computer. You could mount it on the desk. This is a table stand. They sell a version that doesn't clip onto the desk and actually stands on the desk. You can do that, whatever makes sense for you. This is a tripod I have. These are going to be the main recommendations I have for lighting, audio, tripods, and stuff like that. So look, the info in this free course genuinely has the power to completely change your business in a big way. So I hope you went through this, took notes, and got value out of it. Now, at this point, you've got three options. The first option is to let this be another YouTube video that you watch and do nothing with what you just learned. That comes with the guilt and shame from knowing that you're ultimately wasting time, and you'll be wondering what's wrong with you because you spend all this time watching YouTube videos on how to make content but barely take any action on it. You could do that, but I don't want you to feel that way anymore. The second option you have is to finally take action on everything I've given you and get started all by yourself. And that's great. If you take action, that's probably 100% increase from what you've already done so far. But even though you have the blueprint that I gave you here, it's all new and there's so much to focus on, but so little time to get it done. I know exactly what that feels like. Most of my clients tell me about how much of a time suck content can be doing it all on their own. They had no idea what they're doing, so coming up with good ideas, finding the time to film, and finding good editors that spoke English actually took forever. They always ended up posting inconsistently because they couldn't commit to figuring it out and still run their business effectively at the same time. And the reason why they felt uncertain and overwhelmed wasn't because they lacked information. In fact, most of them were following some course they paid for or just copying someone else's strategy to the T, and they still weren't able to stick to it. I'd have to tell them it's not your fault. You've just never done this before, and running a successful business means you don't have time to be a full-time content creator as well. So with all the bottlenecks you'll face doing this on your own, you can eventually overcome that and get something to work, but not before wasting tons of time and burning money too. And I'm telling you, it's not fun, and I don't want you to deal with that either. So that's why you've got a third option. Get help from someone who's helped so many others and can help you get to where you want to go, which is building an incredible brand, never losing out to competitors again, because you committed to making content on the best platform possible this decade. I know that if you've made it to the end of this video and you're still watching, you have to be serious about making content. You really want to make this work, and you know that growing on YouTube is the key to your future. That's why I want you to click the first link below in the description and book a call to speak directly with me. You'll have me and my entire team building your YouTube presence step by step, actually helping you generate at least 10 to 30 leads every single month, just like I've done for tons of other people who are in your shoes right now. So click the link in the description below, book a call, and I'll see you on the inside.